Hello, everyone. I am Sean, and once again, welcome to my Horror Corner. As always, thank you so much for being here, for watching the video today. I really do appreciate that. And to those of you who have been subscribing to the channel, the numbers continuing to go up little by little. Thank you all so much. Your support, your encouragement, it really does mean a lot to me. I know I say it every time, but it does mean so much to me. Those of you who are, sharing the videos, who are sharing the posts on social media and helping promote my channel and get this out there. I really do appreciate it. You guys are the best. So thank you very much for all of that. I appreciate it. Today, we are going to be talking about another Rob Zombie movie. I feel like I've reviewed a few of those, but today we're going to be talking about The Devil's Rejects. Um, I did House of a Thousand Corpses, and I meant to go back and look and see what I ranked that one. I also did 31 a while back before I changed up a few things. I talked about Rob Zombie's Halloween movies because I was going over that whole franchise, the Halloween franchise. But um, I've been kind of tough on Rob Zombie's movies, I know, and I wanted to go back and see exactly what I gave House of a Thousand Corpses. And I'll be honest, I didn't have time to go look. I got busy doing a few other things, and crazy day at work. Came home, just watched this movie just now, and then got ready to record and just totally forgot, to be honest, to go look and see what I had previously given to the House of a Thousand Corpses. But I want to say it was like a five. That's what I was thinking I went with, was a five. But again, I'm not 100% certain. Um, so I know I've been tough on some of Rob Zombie's stuff, but I had seen this movie. I feel like I'd only seen this movie once before, as far as in its entirety. I saw it shortly after it came out. I didn't see it in theaters. It was more of either rented it at a video store back when that was a thing, or maybe caught it on HBO or Cinemax, Showtime, something like that. But um, you know, even though I hadn't been a huge fan of the first one, still wanted to see this and just to see what I thought. And if I remember correctly, I was a little surprised. Was my initial reaction to this one. But then I just never went back and watched the entire thing again until today. I've seen bits and pieces here and there, but had never really gone back and watched it from beginning to end until today. And so I'm looking forward to talking about this one. I'm kind of excited to talk about this. Yeah, I will say, don't want to give too much away just yet. All I'll say is I think it's better than House of a Thousand Corpses. So we'll start with that. Let me put my glasses on so I can read my notes, and we'll get ready to get into this thing. So, The Devil's Rejects, excuse me, released in 2005. Let's give you a brief overview, kind of a synopsis for the film. Tagline: This summer, go to hell. The murderous backwoods Firefly family take to the road to escape the vengeful Sheriff Wydell, who is not afraid of being as ruthless as his target. The movie was released July 22nd of 2005, directed by Rob Zombie, written by Rob Zombie, produced by Mike Elliott, Andy Gould, Rob Zombie, Michael Ohoven, maybe how you say that, and Marco Melitz. Cinematography done by Phil Parme, music by Tyler Bates, distributed by Lionsgate Films, runtime of 109 minutes, budget of 7 million. Excuse me. Budget of 7 million, box office of 20.9 million. Scores for the film: Rotten Tomatoes 54% from critics, 78% from the audience, and an IMDb score of 6.7 out of 10. Cast for this film: we have Sid Haig, Bill Moseley, Sherry Moon Zombie, Ken Foray, Matthew McGrory, William Forsythe. That's kind of your primary cast, but we also get a lot of other appearances in this film. Danny Trejo and former professional wrestler Diamond Dallas Page play a couple of bounty hunters in this movie. Um, Famous former adult porn star Ginger Lynn is in this movie. PJ Souls makes an appearance in this film. Um, and I believe Tyler Main and Kane Hodder also have brief appearances in this movie as well. So a lot of big names showing up here and there. Rob Zombie always has a big cast. I will give him that. Let's talk about this cast a little bit. So, we get a lot of these return. Primarily, we get Sid Haig returning as Captain Spaulding, Bill Moseley returning as Otis, and Sherry Moon Zombie returning as Baby. One of the things that I remember thinking in House of a Thousand Corpses was, Rob Zombie talked about how he felt like in that movie, people would begin to be more interested in the killers. They would be more behind the killers, cheering for them, as opposed to this group of people they were after. Um, I didn't feel that way in House of a Thousand Corpses. I did like Captain Spaulding. That was one of the highlights of that movie, in my opinion. I was a big fan of Captain Spaulding. Um, but Otis, baby, I mean, they had some moments here and there, but I wasn't finding myself behind them. And really, House of a Thousand Corpses, if I remember correctly, not to go back and talk all about that movie again, but I think I liked the beginning of that film. I just thought for me, it got too crazy and way too chaotic towards the end of the film. Um, I really believe, again, if I remember correctly, that I was on board for the first half of this movie and enjoying the first half of this movie. And then the second half just kind of, I don't know, it just got too insane for me. I mean, Rob Zombie himself even said that the film got much more chaotic and almost comedic and just, not what he was intending. Um, I think that really hurt the movie House of a Thousand Corpses and brought it down. I think that movie would have been much better if we could have left out the entire Doctor Satan gimmick. Make I mean I know that's who these kids were looking for, but just make it where they're seeking, like really cool horror haunted attractions and circuses and carnivals and that kind of thing, and they hear about this one, and so that's what they're looking for. Make it that way. Let's take out the whole Doctor Satan thing because I really feel like that and the second half of this film where it went, especially with the underground shit, is what ruined. Again, well, I didn't want to say ruined, but hurt House of a Thousand Corpses for me because I was enjoying the first half of the film, loved Captain Spaulding, and then the second half was just downhill. Saying all of that to get into this one and say this, um, I like these characters a little bit more. And it's hard to say you like this family because these are some horrible people, but still love Captain Spaulding. Sid Haig does an absolutely incredible job. Love Sid Haig. Um, Bill Moseley always is great, and he is again fantastic as Otis. Yeah, he's not a very likable character, but Bill Moseley's performance is just absolutely incredible. I really feel like Sid Haig and Bill Moseley, like nobody else could have played these roles the way these two do. So I think they're fantastic in this film. Sherry Moon Zombie, I feel like she gets a lot of slack, and a lot of people criticize her acting. Uh, I don't think she's as bad as most people do. I think I've seen some performances from her that are pretty good. I've seen others that are kind of mid, but I don't think she's terrible. And in this movie, I don't think she's as bad. Um, I feel like, again, I hate to say that you don't like these characters because they're terrible people, but I think that you get so caught up in the performances and you like these actors, especially against Sid Haig and Bill Moseley, so much that you do almost find yourself wanting this family to get through. Because, again, let's face it, the the sheriff in this film, he's the brother of a sheriff that gets killed in the first film, and I mean, he's not a good guy either. These bounty hunters are not good guys. Even the family, and I know I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here in the hotel, they don't seem like the most likable group of people either, in my opinion. So I don't really think that there's a huge group of characters in this film that I really like. It's not that the characters are that likable. Because of that, I do think, but again, because of the screen presence of Bill Moseley and the screen presence of Sid Haig, you do almost find yourself pulling for this family a little bit. And I felt like Baby, who can be incredibly annoying, um, had incredibly annoying moments in House of a Thousand Corpses and has one, in my opinion, incredibly annoying part in this film, where she's doing that whole Chinese, Japanese, all that bullshit. I mean, that gets so annoying because she just keeps repeating it. But other than that, uh, she is even gets a little more likable. I feel like as this film goes on, and so yeah, it's odd because again, they're not good characters, but the performances are very good. And there's not like there's the good guys in this film are that likable either. So you might understand why the sheriff is doing what he's doing, but again, he's not a likable guy either. So I feel like the fact that there's not a ton of likable characters in this movie almost does make you start to be on the side just a little bit of this Firefly family. Now, maybe that makes me incredibly fucked up to even think that, but that's where I found myself going. And yeah, I feel like that again. everybody does a good job in this film. Ken Forey's fantastic. We know that. William Forsythe playing the sheriff, he does a good job. I really think these are incredibly solid performances from everyone in this movie, but again, especially Sid Haig and Bill Moseley. So, um, that being said, that's a big plus to get this film started off. A few notes for this movie. I did take a few notes here that I just kind of, some things that I thought were interesting that I wanted to mention. Um, when writing House of a Thousand Corpses, Zombie had a vague idea for a story about the brother of the sheriff the Firefly family killed coming back for revenge. Lionsgate, after the film had a pretty good opening weekend, immediately wanted Zombie to start working on a second film, and so that's what he did with this one, because he already had the idea. This is the final film to feature Matthew McGrory before his death in the same year. Zombie wanted this film to be more horrific and the characters less cartoonish. He wanted this to be something like a violent Western. I think that worked. I think he did pull that off. He did a good job of keeping them more horrific and less cartoonish because, again, I feel like that's what hurt the House of a Thousand Corpses. I see the whole violent Western thing in this. Um, Sherry Moon Zombie stated, and this is something that I want to talk about briefly. Sherry Moon stated that she does not even see this film as really a sequel. Quote, it's more like some of the characters from House of a Thousand Corpses came on over and now they're the devil's rejects. I agree, because if you don't see House of a Thousand Corpses and you see the devil's rejects, you're okay. I mean, that really does work. I mean, yes, they start this film off with talking about some things briefly from House of a Thousand Corpses, but they really, it gets more established. Again, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself yet, but it gets much more established as just not just those four people that they kill in House of a Thousand Corpses, but tons of people that they're killing, and it just, this film has such a different vibe because House of a Thousand Corpses did get so crazy and so cartoonish. This movie doesn't do that, and I think that makes this movie better. Again, I think if they could have changed a few things on House of a Thousand Corpses, it would have been better as well. But I like the what Zombie was doing here, and I think it works. I really do. One more thing. Um, the film had to go through the MPAA 8 times to get under the NC-17 rating. Censors specifically had a problem with the hotel scene and the interactions between Bill Moseley's character and Priscilla Barnes's character, who, I didn't mention her earlier in the cast. She plays the mom of the group of the hotel. Totally drawing a blank on her name, which really threw me off because, growing up in the 80s and late 70s, early 80s, I grew up watching the television show Three's Company. Absolutely loved that show, and I know Priscilla Barnes from that. She played Terry, the nurse on that show, and was, I mean, it's a comedy show. It's funny, and she was fairly good. So to see her in this kind of role blew my mind because I don't know if I've ever seen her in anything else other than Three's Company. So to see her in this really shocked me. But yeah, that's what the censors had the biggest problem with, was that interaction there, and Zombie ended up having to cut 2 minutes out of that hotel scene in order to get under that NC-17 rating. And then, of course, finally, as we've been talking about, this is the second film in the Firefly series, and it is followed later on by Three from Hell in 2019. So that's all the pre-stuff that I've got. That's my thoughts on the cast. I'm also going to say ahead of time, I like this story. I like it better than the House of a Thousand Corpses story. I like this being looked at as this family of serial killers that have killed tons of people, and now the police are after them. And again, one of the sheriff's brother had been killed by them, and so he's in a very vengeful state of mind and not really following the rules himself. So I like the story. Love the cast. This movie, I just feel like it's a huge step up. It's a big improvement for me from the other one. So let me get one more drink. And now we will get started with this plot walkthrough and my take on this as we go. So the film starts off with this news report talking about what this Firefly family has done. And it doesn't really just pinpoint the deaths in the House of a Thousand Corpses movie. In fact, one point the reporter, I think, mentioned they killed over 75 people. And again, all we saw in House of a Thousand Corpses was these primary four. And then when we knew there was bodies of cheerleaders as well. But nowhere near the 75. I like that. I really, again, I think that was a huge plus and kind of a cool addition. Um, Sheriff Wydell, who again his brother, was killed in the first film by the mother Firefly, I believe. I might be wrong, but for some reason I was thinking it was her that shot him and killed him. In fact, I know it was. She shot and killed him. Um, he leads a group of his deputies and state troopers to the Firefly family house, and they basically start gunfire. They catch them off guard. They're sleeping and stuff in there, and so they do fire back some. We see some cops get killed. One member of the family, Rufus, gets killed. Um, Otis and Baby are able to escape. Tiny kind of vanishes. Otis and Baby escape, but they do end up arresting Mother Firefly and taking her in. I like this scene. I think it's a really good scene. I like the way it's done as far as, again, the sheriff and his group out there, and they've given a warning and they've done tear gas, and now they're just opening fire. And of course the family's firing back. I just think it's a good scene. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good start to this film. I think it sets the tone, and I think it really gets us off with a nice start. As I mentioned, Otis and Baby are able to escape. They end up calling. Baby calls Captain Spaulding, who we find out is her dad, and she's telling him what's gone on, and is asking him to meet them, to come help. And so they agree to meet at this hotel that apparently they've always talked about if something like this had happened. Captain Spaulding takes off. Again, we get some interaction there with Captain Spaulding and his current girlfriend that's pretty funny. That's another thing I'll say in this film. I feel like there were the attempts in House of a Thousand Corpses to be funny didn't land for me. I didn't find it funny at all, other than Captain Spaulding. I thought he was hilarious in the very beginning. Um, I think even the attempts at the comedy and the few one-liners here and there work better in this film as well. I enjoy the part there we get with Captain Spaulding where he's leaving his woman to go meet up with Baby and Otis. Um, Baby and Otis, they trick this lady. Baby lays down on the road and appears to be injured. This lady stops her car and goes to check on her, and then Otis comes up behind her and stabs her. And then they take her car to go to this hotel. And Baby tricks this guy outside, kind of flirts with him, makes him think that she's interested in him. And then Otis comes up behind him, and they end up taking him and going into his room where there's other members of his family. I think there's some kind of music group or something is what gets said. So now they're kind of looking at holding them hostage. Oh, just to shoot one guy in the head and kill him. We have the scene then. There's another woman that's in a shower. There's a scene where Otis makes her get out of the shower and kind of ends up fighting with her husband because he's wanting to protect her. There is a scene there where Otis sexually assaults Priscilla Barnes' character, and I believe that's what the MPAA was having such a hard time on. I think I heard that the uncut version is available. I mean, I have this movie on Blu-ray. It says it's the unrated version. So I'm assuming that there was nothing cut out of this. I mean, that almost sounds bad to say. Sexual assault is a terrible thing. I didn't, however, see anything in this film that I thought was just that we haven't seen in other films. So I don't know why it was such a big deal here. I can understand if it bothered people, especially anybody that's been a victim of that kind of thing. But I feel like we've seen so much worse in other movies, so I don't understand what the big deal was here. But anyway, that's just me. Otis ends up taking two of the men out. He tells them that they're going on a little to run an errand with him. He tells them a little bit later that they're going to get some guns that he had buried. Baby keeps the two women there in the hotel, and both sides are kind of cutting back and forth here to what's going on. We also get a cut of Captain Spaulding running out of gas, and he ends up stealing a car from another woman and her kid. Again, Captain Spaulding's kind of funny, but he's also a little scary. PJ Souls plays the mom there in that part. I mentioned her earlier. So yeah, then we kind of are just cutting back and forth between Otis and these two men that he's taking on this errand, and Baby with the two women in the hotel. And both sides are just, Otis is kind of having fun harassing these guys and messing with them, and Baby's doing the same thing to the women back in the hotel. Finally, and I don't 100% remember which happens first. It might be the Otis thing. Otis ends up killing the two guys. They do try to fight back, but he ends up killing them. Back at the hotel, Baby ends up killing Priscilla Barnes' character, and then the other girl thinks she has escaped, but as she runs outside the hotel and is trying to get away, she runs into Captain Spaulding, who has showed up, and so he brings her back inside. They kind of wait there for Otis, who does eventually show up, and they let this woman live, but Otis had skinned her husband's face off, and so he's messing with her, ends up putting her dead husband's face on her, and then they kind of tie her up and they leave, saying that they're going to leave her for the maid. Of course, the maid does show up the next day, ends up finding this woman. Woman's freaking out, scares the maid. The maid takes off. The woman runs outside, and then she ends up getting hit by a truck. As far as this particular section of the film, they then leave in this group's van to go to the next place because Captain Spaulding has also called his old friend Charlie and telling him that they're going to come and stay there to try to lay low and avoid the police. Okay, so all of that I just talked about there. It's violent. I see how it could be disturbing, especially the assault scene. Obviously Otis and Baby are not good people, you know, but I I feel like this film is just so much better than House of a Thousand Corpses. I was enjoying this film. Now again, I enjoyed the beginning of House of a Thousand Corpses, but I really felt like I was enjoying this so much more. I was fully on board with everything that was happening here. It's not scary, but it is violent, and there's some thrilling moments, I guess you could say. I don't even know that I would call it tension, but some good moments in the film. So I was enjoying this one, and liking where we're going with this. And very, had I not seen it once before, where I kind of knew some things, yeah, I was enjoying this ride, rewatching this again. Of course, they do show up at Captain Spaulding's friend Charlie's brothel, and we also find out in this time that the sheriff, he ends up, because we also cut some to him talking to Mother Firefly in the prison, and we also see that the sheriff is losing it, like he's imagining talking to his dead brother. He ends up kind of snapping and ends up stabbing and killing Mother Firefly there in the prison. He also ends up hiring these two bounty hunters and wants them to help him capture Otis, Baby, and Captain Spaulding. And so they're at this brothel. They're partying, they're having a good time, everything seems great, but at the same time, the sheriff has managed to find Charlie when he's away from the brothel for a little while, and basically kind of threatens him and lets him know that he's going to be there at midnight, and Charlie better have them all ready, or something was going to happen to him. And Charlie kind of reluctantly gives in, and so the bounty hunters show up at the brothel and do end up managing to capture Captain Spaulding, Otis, and Baby. Of course, the sheriff Whitell is there as well, and so they end up capturing them and then taking them back to the Firefly home and kind of holding them hostage. And the bounty hunters then go on, and so now Sheriff Whitell has the three people that he wanted, and now he's going to begin his own, vigilante justice. He's torturing them. He staples, different pictures and things like that to them. I'm trying to remember. I mean, I think there's a few scenes where he hits them. I know he kind of nails Otis's hands down into the chair. So he's really torturing them, pushing their limits. He ends up letting Baby go, you think. He lets her take off running while he sets the house on fire, believing that he's going to kill Otis and Captain Spaulding in this fire. And then he's chasing Baby around outside and kind of playing games with her. Shoots her in the leg as she's trying to run away. Ends up whipping her. But right as he is now choking her and deciding he is going to kill her, Tiny shows up and ends up picking him up and breaking his neck and killing him, and then goes in and helps Otis and Captain Spaulding escape as well. The fire is burning the place down, and then for some reason, I didn't really understand this, but Tiny decides to go back into the home. He's not going to try to continue to escape with the other three. He goes back into the home. Otis mentions to him, are you sure you want to do this? And we'll come back for you. But it's very clear that especially because Master Tiny gets in the home, like the house kind of there's more explosions, more fire, and you know that you know you assume Tiny gets killed in the fire there. Um, Meanwhile, the wounded three now they seem to have escaped. They get in, I believe it's Charlie's car. I'm not 100% sure, and take off on the road. Again, another scene that I enjoyed. I don't think there's any of this that's just amazing, but I think it was enjoyable. I mean, I was enjoying watching this. I kind of forgot. I knew that he captured the three of them, but I kind of forgot exactly what measures of torture he was using. And so, seeing that interaction, seeing him snap at them, kind of getting some of the same treatment that they had given others. I mean, yeah, I had found myself almost wanting them to kill him and continue to escape. But at the same time, it was kind of fun to see the reversal here and what was going on. And yeah, I mean, I was still enjoying this film. Nothing mind blowing, nothing absolutely spectacular, other than the incredible performances by Sid Haig and Bill Moseley. And then we get to the finale of this movie, and I want to say, so at this point, if we don't get the finale, I enjoy this film. I enjoy it more than I enjoy House of a Thousand Corpses for sure. Um, and if I gave House of a Thousand Corpses a five, then I would probably give at this point. Let's not talk about the ending yet. At this point in the movie, I would probably look at 6.5 or a seven for this one because I do think it's better. Probably a seven. I do think it's considerably better, and I'm enjoying it much more. So I would probably be about a seven, and then we get to the ending of this film, and I don't know why, but I think this ending is absolutely amazing. I think the song "Freebird" is an excellent choice here to play. Um, I love that song anyway, but I think it's just an excellent, again, one to play here in the scene is, Captain Spaulding and Baby are in the back of this convertible. They're injured. They're just kind of out of it. Otis is also injured, but he's driving, and he comes upon a roadblock where there are, a lot of state troopers, policemen, and all got their guns pointed at the car. And so Otis stops, and this song is just playing, and you just gotta see Otis looking. Otis ends up kind of waking up Captain Spaulding and Baby, and they all get guns and get ready, and then they take off towards this roadblock, and they're shooting at the police, and the police are shooting at them. While Freebird is playing, and I don't know. I just think this. I think the ending is very well shot. I think it looks really good. And had we at this point, we didn't know Three from Hell was coming, so we feel like this is the end of the Firefly family. And that being said, if this would have been the end, I I think this is a good ending. I really like this ending of this film. Again, I think the choice to play Freebird was really good. I think the soundtrack in this movie is outstanding. Um, and I just like the way this scene looks. Again, I think it was shot very well. It was done very well. As they get closer and closer, you see Otis and Captain Spaulding and Baby starting to take hits and being shot. And I just think it's a very well done scene, and I think it's a really good ending where basically they would rather. You kind of get the impression they know they're going to die. When they take off into this. Well, actually, I don't think it's an impression. I think they know they're going to die as they head off into this, but they would rather die than be captured at this point, especially after everything they've been through. And so they're just gonna, you know, take off in there and take down as many people as they can in the process. And I don't know. I just really like this ending. I think this was a perfect ending to a pretty good film. Really is the way I would describe it. And so that in itself is going to bump this up a little further for me. So yeah, that's pretty much the Devil's Rejects. Now, again, now I know Three from Hell was coming. But again, not knowing it at the time of seeing this the first time. I've only seen Three from Hell once, and I will be coming back and covering it in the future to wrap up this trilogy. But I think, as I said, I was looking at about a seven until the ending, and then I think that ending is so fantastic. I really like The Devil's Rejects. I like it much better than I thought I did. Um, as I'm talking about the movie, and now thinking back on it, and this, I'm trying to decide what I liked so well. And I really, again, a lot of it because I don't think there's anything just mind blowing or just amazing that happens in this film. It's a good movie. It's a good movie with incredible performances and a fantastic ending. And so typically a movie that I just thought was good, I would rank right around a 6, possibly a 7. But I feel like with these incredible performances and as much as I love this ending, I feel like it's got to be better than that. Is it good enough to call an 8? I don't know. I'm struggling with that. Because an 8 means it's really, really good. And I don't know if I would call it really, really good, but it's really good. So I think what I'm going to say for The Devil's Rejects is I'm going to go 7.5 out of 10. Um, I think this is a really good movie. I mean, I've established that, and primarily because Sid Haig and Bill Moseley are fantastic. It doesn't go crazy and be ridiculous and cartoonish like House of a Thousand Corpses, and the ending is fantastic. So 7.5 out of 10 for me for The Devil's Rejects. Still kind of struggling with that, but I think that's what I'm going to go with. So yeah, that's where I'm at on this film. I want to know what you think now. Let me know what your thoughts are on The Devil's Rejects if you've seen this film. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? You like it better than House of a Thousand Corpses? Maybe you like House of a Thousand Corpses better, whatever. I just want to know your thoughts. So hit that like button today on this video. Leave me some comments. I love the interaction. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. I really do appreciate that. I had a goal this year of getting to 100 as far as my subscribers. Again, I know that's not a huge number. I know so many people out there that have massive, massive channels. But considering I just started doing this channel at the end of last year, um, I would be thrilled to be at 100. So help me reach that goal. Let's see if we can get to 100 by the end of this year, and then I'll set another goal next year. But yeah, I don't think that's too much to ask. That's not a whole lot, I don't think. But yeah, so if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Like the video today. Leave me some comments. Follow me on social media. I'm pretty much on everything out there: Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, X. You can search for just Sean's Horror Corner, and you can find me there. The only place it's different is X. It's My Horror Corner there. I also have a letterbox. It's just My Horror Corner. So yeah, I try to follow back as much as possible. If you seem like a real person and we have shared interests, then I'll follow back. So follow me on social media. Just to kind of give you a heads up on what's coming, a little later on this week, in a few days, I'm going to be back and talk about X, which I'm really looking forward to talking about that one as well. And then next week, I will be having episodes on Renfield. I also have a episode on a classic older 70s movie, Alice, Sweet Alice. And also next week, I believe I will have my first episode up of rewatching and going through The Walking Dead. I'll be talking about season 1 of The Walking Dead. So X this week, Renfield, Alice, Sweet Alice, and The Walking Dead next week. So got a lot of good things coming. Yeah, I'll have some more guests on here in the near future as well. So yeah, be sure and hit that subscribe button so you can follow along with me. I'll quit rambling now. Thank you so much for watching the video today. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.